church. And the kids went to junior church. I said, what was the Bible lesson? Well, they made this one youth worker's didn't answer the trivia questions right, and so for a penalty he had to sniff another youth worker's stinky sneakers. I said, that is the memorable moment that you had in junior church? By the way, there are 300 kids in the room. Big church. I said, what was the Bible verse? We didn't look at any Bible verses. We talked about a couple cute things about loving each other. Excuse me? Wait a minute. You didn't? There's no Bible verses? None. Here's what we're doing. Parents, you have two options. One, your kids can stay in the service. By the way, if they're in 3rd grade and up, you are in the service. That's why some parents blow in saying, I want my kids out of here, I want my coffee latte, I want to sit and be comfortable. No, sorry, your kids, if they're 3rd grade up, they're in the service. They're going to hear the washing of the word. They're going to hear what you're going to hear. We have a junior church. It's slowly growing. It's up and down. We realize that at some point in time we're probably going to have to bus kids because it's the only way to get kids here. Because parents just don't get up on Sunday morning. Mentoring. You said, that's all you're doing for kids? I said, yeah. We're going to help empower you to teach your kids. There'll be a junior church program. There's going to be a mentoring program. And we're slowly, we had to kill the traditional youth program to get to the place where we're saying, let's go back to what the Bible teaches. Okay? It's not about having fun. It's about relationships. Here's how kids learn their faith. I'm talking as a man who's done this for 20 years. Let me tell you how, I've been saved for 33. Let me tell you how kids learn their faith. They model what mom and dad does. Kids who have active moms and dads who are actually pursuing truth will pursue truth. If you're going to live an inconsistent hell with Jesus Monday through Thursday and get right on Friday night and then come to church on Sunday, guess what your kids are going to model? That's what your kids are going to model. Kids own their faith through missions. We're going to start taking mission trips. Kids model their faith through service, serving. That's how they own their faith. They own their faith by doing, by going, by being involved. By the way, how have we grown as a church? By serving, by doing missions, by getting involved in other people's lives. This is how kids are going to learn. You're saying you're talking a lot about kids. I said, yeah, but you understand that 85% of anybody who comes to Jesus does so by 14? You say, okay, what does that mean? That means very few people over 50 come to Christ. That means the best bang for the buck is reaching kids under 20. Why is campus ministry so huge? Because that is where all of our leaders for the next 30 years are learning how to be leaders. In the church, most churches aren't there. We are. Okay, mentorship. Next 2 years, I'm challenging this church. Next 2 years, we have to get to the place where we're investing in moms and dads. I told you we were going to hit with goals. Area that God has terribly burdened me for the past year is about the fact that men being men. I know women's ministry is important, but I'm telling you, without men who love Jesus, your homes have no shot of succeeding. Guys, we're going to figure out how to serve men, teach men, raise men. February 19th, I want you to mark your calendar. If you're a guy in this church, if you want to figure this out with me, Men's Fraternity is having a meeting in Philly at another church. You know Pastor Brian King, our friend. Now, here's an African-American church that on, I think, Thursday morning, they're getting 160 African-American dads for Men's Fraternity at 6 a.m. We're not going at 6 a.m., by the way. We're going to the Saturday breakout session. But the fact is, here's a church in a community that's not supposed to have it happen. He baptized last year 164 people.
Wow.
Is that staggering? His church is exploding in growth. Why? Because they bit the bullet and said, we are going to teach men how to be men and dads to be dads. Because the average church, please hear my heart on this. I believe the greatest secret weapon in the church is women. But ladies, for far too long, the average women have done too much. Men need to lead. Men need to take their responsibility. Men need to have a spine to stand up to their kids and do the verbal smackdown when they need to put their kids in line. The average dad has abdicated his responsibility in America. And it's even worse in the church. By the way, that same meeting, WMU will be there, Women's Missionary Union, so there'll be a ladies component. How are we going to do this? Listen, we have to start paying a price to develop better dads. Women's ministry, Women's Missionary Union within the Southern Baptist has been the backbone of missions around the world. We have been blessed as a church with strong relationships with most of the national women's leaders. Many of them have been here, they've spoken here, they've invested in us. I want to encourage our ladies to keep doing what you're doing because you're doing the right thing. You see, it's not about having teas. You're looking at me weird. The average women's group does teas and little doilies and stuff like that, and they're perfectly useless because most women aren't that way anymore. Most women want to get on their work shirts and go out and bang nails. So you ladies go out and collect stuff and go give it to the homeless. I'm telling you, if you want to do discipleship, keep doing what you're doing. Just take somebody with you when you go do it. That's what Women Missionary Union is all about. They start reading programs. They start ESL programs. They get groups of ladies together for prayer and saying, us four are going to go do this. Our group of 40, we're going to take this town for this. That's how women's ministry is exploding across America. And you guys are on the cusp of doing it, and I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing because you're doing it the right way. You want to do an outing, that's cool too. But this is not about collecting a bunch of people in a room and being comfortable. It's about taking our community for Christ and saying absolute transformation. If you want to learn more, Bodie Bachman has a book out called Family Driven Faith. Some of our leaders have read it. He's available on YouTube. There's also a website called the Alliance for Church and Family Restoration that is also a good book, a good site to check out. So I want to challenge you with some verses as we close out today. This is a hard thing to share because I know it scares people off. You say you're being weird. No, I want to be biblical. I know the system's broken. Guys, we have to change how church is done.